So the second half of the major story that we have tonight is a memorandum that was signed by President Trump telling major US tech firms, mostly with AI, that they will be used or can target other companies outside the US for cyber attacks. It's a true memorandum that we're going to look over, or I think I forget what it's called. I think it's a memorandum. But it started because of this. Listen to this. Chinese hackers carried out the first fully autonomous AI cyber attack against a foreign government, targeting Taiwan. Using open source AI agents, the attackers independently conducted reconnaissance, searched for vulnerabilities, and adapted tactics over 4 days in early July. They compromised at least 85 accounts, stole more than 2,500 employee records, and expanded the attack to Taiwan's nuclear safety agency and energy companies. The use of simplified Chinese in communication points to a PRC connection. So if you don't understand what any of that means, basically China used AI to hack the identities and passwords, information of employees, specifically around nuclear reactors and energy companies. So, LNG. Very serious attack, obviously. So serious, in fact, that the US is allowing our own companies to join in on these wars. We're already in a war. I mean, if you haven't figured that out yet, we are already at war. And if this doesn't tell you all you really need to know, So this is also from China. China put a satellite over the Pacific to spy on U.S. test ranges. Completely normal. I'm not flaming China for this. We do it all the time. I thought that was funny. The U.S. put one of its own satellites right next to their satellite to spy on that satellite. So anything the satellite picks up, the U.S. knows what it's sending, which is hilarious. So I have the memoranda. Sorry, I think it's memoranda here. This is from the official WhiteHouse.gov website. It's called Expanding Capabilities to Combat Transnational Cyber-Enabled Crime. This was signed yesterday. So this is all in quick succession. Things are getting pretty serious. This was signed by pretty much everybody. Secretary of War, Attorney General, Secretary of Commerce, Energy, Homeland Security, President, Vice President, NSA, Deputy Chief, National Cyber Director. Pretty much everyone chimes in here. I'm going to read it out loud for you guys because I can't help it, guys. I got to read this shit. Section 1, purpose. Transnational criminal organizations pose a growing threat to American citizens, businesses, and national security. These organizations conduct sustained cyber campaigns to perpetrate frauds that undermine American property, prosperity, security, and freedom. Through Executive Order 14390 of March 6, 2026, combating cybercrime, fraud, and predatory schemes against American citizens, I directed the federal government to take various actions. This memoranda expands the fight against TSO perpetrated cybercrime by incorporating the ingenuity of the private sector. So, for a little understanding or context, what's been going on in the world, China, as clever as it is, has been maybe directing, maybe not directing its private companies to conduct espionage on American companies, and well, all companies. It's obviously done in part with the Chinese government. They claim it's not. We know it is. Again, it's China. This is what they do. We know this. We all know this. It's fine. We do it too. Google has openly admitted to spying on everyone in the world on behalf of the American government. Completely normal. So, multiple times has it happened that a Chinese corporation or sort of I'll put it in quotes, random Chinese people get together and decide they want to hack an American company. And then, hey, we say, hey, this group just hacked us. They attacked us. What are you going to do about it? And China will be just like, oh, we don't know anything about it. Can't find them. Don't know who they are. Never heard of them. They're doing the same thing here with AI, which we know from all the recent reports is getting pretty serious when it comes to being able to hack companies and steal information, or worse. Even the smallest models can do it, depending on how unprotected they are. And now we just saw the mass use of that technology. So the US is responding in kind. The American private sector is the most innovative and technologically advanced in the world, and its scale, speed, and capacity secure a critical offensive cyber advantage for the United States. The current world war is digital, yet American businesses' innovative capabilities have historically been underutilized in efforts to identify and disrupt criminal networks operating in cyberspace. Thus, it is the policy of the United States to use all instruments of national power, including the innovative capabilities of the private sector, to combat cybercrime. By partnering with vetted United States companies subject to the direction and oversight of the federal government, we will enhance our ability to counter TCO threats. If I'm a foreign adversary of the United States, I'd kind of be pissing myself right now. Often times the US corporations are being held back. Trust me, there's way worse that they can do that they're not allowed to do, that they do anyway. And then there's even worse that they, won't do just because they think it'd be too crazy. So to give them permission to be as crazy as they want, I mean, we're probably about to see some wild stuff. I'll try and keep track because what the US does to other countries goes under the radar a lot. But I'll try and find where some of this stuff happens. I'm sure it's going to get a little wild here shortly. Establishing the program. I don't really care about establishing the program. I understand what's going on here. Basically, it just says that the private sectors are going to work with federal, state, local, tribal, and territorial agencies to identify the threats and then participate in operations against them. Implementing guidance within 60 days of the date of this memorandum, the program executive director shall, in coordination with Homeland Security, establish consensus operating procedures for the program that ensures the federal government's complete oversight and control. No operation may be approved unless it complies with these operating procedures. Very cool. Let's see. Mandate the participating companies to disclose. Yeah. So these are kind of the rules and bounds for them. Donald J. Trump. Yep. So it doesn't list the companies, probably on purpose, so as not to expose them, but we know who they will be. Looks like a lot of it will be based around cyber surveillance, probably at the start. Cyber surveillance operations such as manipulation or temporary disruption that is not intended to cause physical effects or impact the usability of physical or virtual infrastructure. So a lot of it is spying. And the CTO, CE-TCO, means any foreign group that conducts cyber-enabled crime against the United States government, person, or interests, which is a lot. That's happening quite often. Yeah, again, we'll see what happens, guys. My guess is we're going to keep seeing this escalation in cyber warfare. It'll start small. It'll start with just spying, but it'll upgrade. On August 12th, so yesterday, Trump signed a national security presidential memorandum directing federal agencies to partner with vetted U.S. firms for cyber surveillance and disruption targeting foreign groups. So this will be specifically cyber warfare against only the other groups behind ransomware, fraud, and scams against America, which is a lot. This will probably be targeted against North Korea too, because recently they were exposed for running their own little cyber operations, which, who knows. program run through the National Coordination Center under Department of Justice and Homeland Security. Lets companies gather intelligence and take actions like degrading criminal systems framed by supporters as a modern letters of marquee. Well, cybersecurity experts Chris Weisopow call it a key shift for authorized hack back without going rogue. Critics worry about escalation risks. Oh, yeah. Border spillover and accountability for firms facing retaliation. Listen, the U.S. has had to fight with its hands tied behind its back for quite a while. I'm fine with this. The White House points to over $20 billion in recent cybercrime losses as the urgent driver. Yeah, it's not that. That's not that. It's not a coincidence that China just ran a massive cyber operation against Taiwan, and then this bill gets signed. Okay, that's not a coincidence. Fuck. This is a pretty big shift in U.S. cyber policy. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I don't see anything else. We'll have to keep seeing what happens, but again, I think it's a pretty big deal. This is probably the bigger escalation within the little cyberspace warfare operations. Trump expands federal authority. Yep. To launch cyber operations against transnational. Listen, good. Finally, stop. Let's let Google. Let's let Google stop harming Americans and instead turn their attention outside. For fuck's sake. God bless. But we'll see what happens. It is escalation. I'm sure a lot of people won't be happy about it. Personally, I think it doesn't matter because in the end, we're already under attack. There was recently a cyber operation in Minnesota in which they targeted the water supply. I think it was over 10 water treatment plants were targeted. They say it's Iran, but, you know, who the fuck knows with these things? But it's cyber attack after cyber attack. I can list off hundreds of these, by the way. There was one, I think last year, where they caused an outage of 911 hotlines in like 7 states or something. Again, it happens all the time. And we mostly don't do anything about it. We just kind of like, can we tank it? Oh, we can. Not a big deal. But I would argue letting the mosquitoes suck on your blood is a problem. And we should smack the shit out of it. So if there's a little tiny operation, I don't care where it is, India, Algeria, fucking some country in Africa, China, I don't care. I don't care where it is. That is scamming Americans. I don't care if it's an Indian call center. Yes, cyber attack them. Shut that shit down. Do it. The US has been AFK for way too long. Same with Japan. Both of us, AFK for way too long. How does this even happen? Unleash the companies on the enemy. Do it. And get them to stop attacking us.